OBS disconnected, reconnecting. Bear with callers. We are. Hello, hello, hello. We are connecting. Allegedly. I think I might be live. I think I might be live. I am doing my best. Bear with caller. Because I'm getting so many error messages. I'm trying to do this OBS disconnected, reconnecting. Am I thinking reconnection successful? I don't know if I'm live. I'm going to try. Okay, so I think I am live on the Book of Faces. Sorry, on Instagram. I'm just checking if I am live on the Book of Faces. Fingers crossed it's working. We shall see now if I am live, and I'm looking. Nope, I'm not live on the Book of Faces, but I'm definitely live on the Instagram. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the very first time that we've done this, so bear with caller. I am trying to connect software to go live. Yes, I am fully aware. Please stop giving me the notifications. Boom, boom, boom. Sorry, boys and girls. Oh, hang on. Is that it? No, you've got fingers in the way from the IT. Bear with caller. I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We've done this the very first time we have used OBS. We are trying our best. I'm not sure it's working. We're just going to check if YouTube is working, because if Facebook is not live, then what I may do is I might just. Oh, we are live on. There we go. Perfect. Right. So for Facebook, I think what we're going to do is I'm just going to use my phone and go live on Facebook. I think that's easier. We can do it that way. Sorry about all of this. We're still learning. Thank you very much for bearing with. This is the inspiration makes for the week. Almost there. Bear with. Sorry. Almost there. Right. We are here. Thank you very much. I'm just going to check OBS, see this is working. Right. I don't know if I have comments. I don't know what's going on. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining. This week, I can take no credit for any of this. I had a live feed. Can you find the wooden stand for the iPhone? Sorry, caller. Because that is a dreadful angle for anybody to be doing anything. There we go. Had a client come in this week and she showed me something called a gingham quilt. And I'd never seen a gingham quilt before in my whole wide life. But I saw the quilting on that and thought, I'll have to make it. I'll have to make it. This is not my design. It is not my pattern. It's from Quilter's Candy and the Fabric Unicorn. These are where these images have come from. But I think you can agree the quilting on that, and it is so simple. So what I did earlier was not my pattern, not promoting the pattern, not saying don't buy the pattern, get the pattern, please support independent designers. I cut a medium, a dark, and a light. So you can see I've got the dark, the medium, and the light. And I just sewed them together. And I started by making the blues and the greens, and you can see how brilliantly that's come together. And then I've not ironed anything. Okay, sorry, not had time to iron, but I started doing the black and the grey and the white because I know a lot of people, when you make quilts, especially for people younger, they want simple colors, they want simple designs, they don't want anything too hectic color wise, but this is so effective and so simple to make. So what I've done is I have prepped everything to check that it works and show you. So I'm not sure I'm going to do this on the Book of Faces, but we're going to try. but on Instagram and YouTube, thank you for joining us. We're doing the very professional. Now, please, the people on Facebook, you're going to get the full detritus at the back. So, what I'm doing here is I'm doing rows of 8. So, I'm taking a dark and I'm taking a medium and I'm stitching them together. Now, I have the world's noisiest sewing machine. So, bear with, but it is also a very quick sewing machine. So what I'm doing is I'm taking all my darks and all my media and I'm sewing them together in rows of 8. And I think it works really simply. So uh, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not rows of 8, sorry, it's rows of 7, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I'm doing my darker row of 7, and then I'm taking my light. So I'm using this really light gray, and I'm doing one light gray with a medium gray. So I'm doing a medium to a light, medium to a light. I can see stars and hearts and all the loveliness on the Book of Faces. Thank you for joining us. I just need to take one of these out and one of those out because I miscounted earlier. But I just think it's such a simple design. And I've decided to do 12 rows of 14, um, which has made 185 blocks in total. Well, sorry, 182 blocks in total. And I just think it's such a quick, easy make, really simple to do. But I think the coloring is so important. Because if you look at this reference picture over here, you can see here they've done the dark orange, the light orange, and the white, and it just works beautifully. Now, this one's a bit more patterned. You can see it's got loads of dots and things on, but because it's the same design, it works really well. This, I think, is just beautiful with that colorway there, and this is lovely. So perhaps when I did the blue and the green, my colorways were a little too close. I'm not sure. But either way, I think they're really subtle and I like that. And it's also great because you've then got a quilt that you can actually then highlight your quilting over and above the pattern. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So I've got 14 of the lights. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So with these, I've got groups of 2 with the dark and the light and the medium. And all I'm doing then is doing the group of 2 and making it into a group of 4. And I'll have 3 of those. Again, the pattern, this is not my pattern, Quilter's Candy, and the Fabric Addict, Fabric Unicorn. They posted these online. Do check them out. Hello, Janet Colley. Hello, Susie. Right, so you've got one left over, which is totally normal. Because I love my chain piecing and I'm a very lazy quilter when it comes to making sure I've got shortcuts. Now stitched my extra 2 onto a 4. And now I've got my 4 and my 2, so my 6. And I'm stitching on the 4. It's only because I can't be bothered. Just want to do a really quick, easy sew. And I think this just works so well. Okay, so we now have a row of 14 of our dark. And you can see here, you can count them as we go. Oh, bear with. So it's 7 dark and 7 medium. So there's 1 dark, 2 dark, 3 dark, 4 dark, 5 dark, 6 dark, 7 dark. So we've got 7 dark, 7 medium. So we're leaving that to one side. And then we've got our 7 sets of 2 over here. So again, you're going medium, light, medium, light. And I'll show the people on Facebook. Medium at the bottom, light in the middle, and we're just sewing medium, light all the way along. So this design, I've chosen the fabrics. I've used 1 meter of the dark, 1 meter of the light, 2 meters of the medium color. So it's a 4 meters of fabric. And it's going to make a quilt that's roughly 70 inches square. So I don't know about you, I think that's a perfect size quilt to be doing. And this is a great one to shop your stash. We've all got fabric we're not quite sure what to do with. But it's a nice way of being able to go to the fabrics that you've got multiple colorways in. I think it's just a really nice way of being able to do it. The fabric I'm using at the moment is Pietra by Giuseppe. He's known as Juicy Juice. Amazing designer. He used to be with Andover. He's now with Free Spirit. Hi, Carolyn Green. Do you have any fruity fabric? I'm after 100% cotton, preferably raspberries and strawberries. I don't think I do. Last time I checked, I did have some apples, but I think we've sold out of those. It's quite a unique fabric that. I hope they've got it. So here again, we've got our 1 light, 2 light, 3 light, 4 light, 5 light, 6 light, 7 light. Okay. Now the way I've started mine, each one of my rows starts with a dark one over here. So if it's got the dark there, you have to have the medium as the one going next to it. So the row is going to attach like that. Okay. So when you're attaching these, I am not pressing, as you can tell. I'm being very lazy on this one. I'm going to make it a Sylvia problem when it comes to quilt the quilts. And all I'm doing here is I'm just folding my seam. And I've got the dark at the bottom is coming towards me, and the light on the top is going away. That's how I've folded my seams. You can do it however you like. You want to press each one. Oh, sorry, we fell over there on Facebook. Apologies. Wedge you in a bit better there. Apologies for all the detritus. So when I cut this, I realized I'm going to need a few more pieces because I haven't got enough square. And I've just missed that point terribly. There's a good 1/4 inch gap there, but I can tell the reason being is my seam wasn't great. I'm so excited. I'm so glad this is working on Instagram and YouTube. Thank you all for joining us. Hopefully, we will be able to do this every Wednesday because I think that's one thing that was really lovely. I asked all my customers to give me feedback on what's going on, what's been happening in the shop for them, and what they wanted to see. And they said definitely more demonstrations. So we've now got more demonstrations. So my plan is to go live on a sale on Wednesday and then do demos on a Thursday. I think it'd be nice. Do you find your seams twist sometimes despite your best efforts? Asking for a friend. Sue, they do. And there's a really easy trick. You take this, and if it twists, what you do is you go to the seam and you just take your scissors and you snip it 2 strands away from where your seam is, and you can fold it over. But at the end of the day, that little bit of the quilt's more warm than the other. It's all good. Hello, Yvonne. You make it look so easy. Love watching you sew. You're very kind, darling. But my seams are not great. You can see I've missed a few points there. So this is how far we've gotten already. I've got that upside down. So this is my top left-hand point of the quilt, and you can see I'm going dark, medium, dark, medium, dark, medium, dark, medium, which means dark, medium. So that is where I'm going to be putting my next scene, going down here. Okay? And all I'm doing here is I've got my 2 run that I had. I'm just going to now sew this and make it onto, or add on to this quilt over here. And the simplicity of this pattern is just so wonderful because you can add as many rows as you like, as long as you like. You can make it to do it really teeny tiny, because while I was doing this, I love it. And I think it's going to be quite fun to see how we make as 1-inch squares, doing the same design as 1-inch squares, to be able to just show people how simple this design is. And the quilter's grid, none of those pesky missed points. So now I'm going to just show you how I'm stitching this last row on. Hopefully my Facebook people are not going to lose their phone. And there we go. So we're just sewing our 2 on here onto our bigger piece that we've already prepared before you came on. And the thing with this, it's a really simple, fun quilt that you can make. And if you've been caught short and you need to do a quilt for somebody, just go and find their favorite fabrics. You can go and match the colors in their home. You can do a gingham, any colorway, as long as you've got those 3 contrasts, being the very, very dark, a very, very light, and then a nice coordinating medium between them. Because I think we all do get to that point where you're just a little bit bored, you're not sure what to be doing. And you know what? If it doesn't work, you've only lost a couple of 5-inch squares, so it's not a train smash. Or 6-inch squares, 4-inch squares. I've used 5-inch squares. I just think that gives you a nice little break. It's not too big, not too small. And I'm really looking forward to doing the quilting, because the quilting I'm going to do the quilting as a 6-inch quilt repeat, because that means it'll go into 1 block and then half into another block, and it just ties that quilt together, having that little overlap with the actual quilting. And oh, bear with. As you can tell, I'm so professional. The laptop's wobbling like crazy, making it all spill. Apologies. And that's Sylvia's quilt. And that's a kit that we've got in the shop as well, if anybody's looking. So you can see I've just added to it. We've now got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 rows on here. I'm going to do 2 more rows and make it by 12. That's going to give me.
How to help you with that?
Sorry. Certain Amazon devices are not meant to be plugged in. So we've done 10 rows here, which comes out at 45 inches this way. And then 14, I can't even remember how much that is. What's 14 times 4.5? 14 times 4.5. May I have a calculator, please? Should be in the box. There's a pink one over there by the Skazars. Thank you. So it's going to be 63 down by 54 across, but I'm going to add an extra couple of rows onto it. So if we did 40 times 8, no, sorry. 40 divided by 5 times 8, we're going to get 64 divided by 14. I'm going to have, oh no, it's not. Yeah, I think I've got 4. Annoyingly, I've got 4 dark and 4 light, which means I can't do a full row. But there we go. I'm going to cut some more blocks and get it from there, because I can get 1 row out of each one. So yeah, that's what I made today. I know it's not possibly the most exciting thing, but for me, it's when I've quilted it and made it look like that. Look at the quilting on there. That's what's made me do it. I just think it's going to be absolutely gorgeous when I've done it. And I'm going to carry on Finishing off the blue one as well. What did I do with the blue? It's here. Because this one's a bit more of a subtle gingham on there. I just think it's really pretty. And again, they're going to be about 63 inches square. It takes 1 meter of the dark, 1 meter of that, 2 meters of that. Try and get 40 inches if you can, because you get an extra row out of it. It's just such a quick, easy make. You can see. Do I do need to do some quilting? Do you cut your squares by hand? They're very neat. Carolyn, absolutely not. Caroline, absolutely not. I've got a 60 millimeter rotary cutter. I lay everything out on the big cutting board over there, lay it all, and I layer all these ones I cut all in one go. So I had a meter of the medium, a meter of the medium, a meter of the dark, meter of the light, and I cut all my squares at the same time. The 20 inches that I had this way, I then cut them into the 5-inch squares, moved them out the way, and then dragged the other 20 down because my ruler's only 24 inches, so I cut them that way. And what I did was I lined the fold of the fabric on the 0 and then started at 21. And then I cut all the salvages off at the 21 and then did 21, 16, 11, 6, and then 1. And then the little bits on the end I'm going to use to do the 1-inch pieces that I want to do for bags, book covers, pencil cases, and just to use it on quilters grid. It looks like a Gingham HD9. Look at our Sue having a wonderful eye for color. It is indeed an HD9. I was very lucky. I managed to buy one secondhand because my other one, which was the 1600, had died. Well, it wasn't died. It was just limping along really, really poorly. And I had it serviced by a terrible service person. And unfortunately, it never fixed. And the button stopped working after being with her. So I'm finding a new person to go and have my machine serviced by. Love that you're wearing a poncho in this heat. Blythe, I'm really lucky because in the studio, this wall is more than 20 inches wide. So this room is always really, really cool. And I'm wearing a white t-shirt. And when I looked in the camera over there, that camera, no one wants to see a white t-shirt in this weather. Nope, not at all. So the poncho, it's actually not that windy, so it's lovely. I get to play my pom-poms at you. Hi, Sonia. Lovely watching you sewing. Can you please tell me it's Janome HD. I don't get paid by Janome. I won't, so I'm not recommending them, but I've got 3 of them, so you can decide from there. How do you find your seamstress? They make it look easy, perfect. And that is a lovely quilt. Thank you, Sonia. That's us. Thank you all so much. I have ended this on Facebook, or let me just stop Facebook Live. Right, we've got YouTube and Instagram still going. It's very exciting. Everybody have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Look after yourselves, and we will catch up soon. Look after you. Bye.